Hey guys, welcome back to Insight Tennis. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about the disguise on the drop shot. And if you've seen the other videos in this series, we talk about, first of all, really thin contact. Then we talked about a progression of actually using a little bit more swing and maintaining that thin contact. And then also disguise, because the disguise is the key for obvious reasons. If your opponent knows what's coming, clearly that's going to be an issue. They might get there. They might even be able to do something offensive with the ball. So it's critical that you learn how to disguise the drop shot. So it needs to look like you're going to hit your normal ground stroke. Okay, so if I'm a one-handed backhand player, man, I need to get clear to here before I decide, right, on my take back, as I'm stepping in before I decide to go ahead and change and come down and hit the drop shot. Same thing on that two-handed backhand. So what we want to do today, first of all, we'll look at the two-hand backhand. And again, it should look like you're going to hit a normal two-hand backhand shot, and then last second, you're just going to cut underneath that ball. Once again, guys, disguise is the key. You've got to sell it. You've got to make sure that your opponent thinks you're hitting a normal shot, a normal one-hand or a two-hand backhand, and then last second, you're going to drop that ball, drop underneath the ball rather, and hit your drop shot. So we'll go ahead and try a couple of those to kind of give you an idea of what that should look like, okay? So first of all, just feed yourself a ball on the wall here, and what you want to do is get that two-hander looking like I'm going to hit my two-hander, and then bang, I'm just going to drop underneath that ball. So my opponent doesn't know that that's not what's coming. Here's my two-hand backhand, and then perfect drop shot right underneath the ball. Now, again, if you sell it like that, they're not going to know what's coming. It'll be very, very effective. The other thing that you want to make sure and do is make sure that you've pushed your opponent back in the court first. The drop shot is much more effective. Clearly you'll see the drop shot more on clay than you will on other surfaces. However, if you have pushed your opponent back, even on the hard courts, it can be an effective shot. If you've got them deep in the court and you drop it short. Clearly on clay, it's a little more effective because the ball doesn't bounce as much. So once again, make sure that you're disguising that shot. It's got to look like you're going to hit your normal two-hand backhand, and then the last second, you're going to switch and hit the drop shot. Go ahead and work on that, guys, and it'll make all the difference in the world. The next time you're out there playing, this gives you the ability to change up, add variety to your game, change up rhythm and so forth, and then make you a much more complete player. Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time out on the court. Hey guys, welcome back to Insight Tennis, Tour Stroke Series. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the drop shot, and in this segment we're going to actually look at the forehand. The last segment we did the backhand, but today we're going to go ahead and look at the forehand. Again, I want to emphasize the importance of disguise. You've got to be able to disguise this shot so that your opponent does not know what is coming. Clearly it's much more effective if they are unaware that you're going to be hitting the drop shot. This is the key. The other key is to make sure that you've pushed your opponent back behind the baseline. The deeper you can have your opponent before you hit this shot, the more effective it will be. So we're going to go ahead and look at the forehand today. Again, same thing. We're going to want to make sure that you sell it. Make sure your opponent thinks that you're hitting your normal forehand. So you've got your normal, coil. You're ready to hit your forehand, right? And it's going to be the last second that I'm going to change my grip, and I'm just going to come and cut underneath that ball. And that's where it's going to be most effective, when your opponent doesn't know that's what's coming. So we'll go ahead and do some illustration here on the wall so you can kind of see what that's supposed to look like. Okay, just go ahead and feed yourself a ball. So here's my big forehand, and then boom, I just cut right underneath that ball. All right, let's do it again. I've got that big coil. I look like I'm hitting my forehand, and then boom, perfect drop shot on that last one. Okay. So I've got my coil, and then I'm just going to go ahead and hit my drop shot. Big forehand, and I just cut underneath the ball last second. Again, guys, disguise is the key. So here's my big forehand, and then bang, I'm just going to cut right underneath that ball. So again, guys, go out and practice this, because the key is, as we've talked about, the disguise. I got to sell it. I got to make sure that I look like I'm going to hit that forehand, and then I'm just going to last second come underneath. And remember that thin contact. That's something that's really, really important as well, is that very, very thin contact. So go out and work on that, guys. You'll find that the drop shot will be much, much more effective the more you can disguise it, obviously, and make sure that you've pushed your opponent back before implementing this shot. It'll be much more effective. Appreciate your time, guys. As always, thank you so much. We'll see you next time out on the court.